Hi there everybody! Welcome to my channel. This is going to be a little light video about some fun and leisurely stuff that I do. For most of you who already follow me closely, you already know that I have pet rats who have been a huge source of my inspiration. Please don't run away immediately just because you hear rats. I know a lot of you can be scared of them or have certain negative ideas about them. Of course, we are sort of surrounded by stereotypes, negative stereotypes about rats, and a lot of people just don't even know that they can make awesome pets. They can just be absolutely adorable. They're very intelligent. That being said, more or less intelligent. Mine sometimes can be a little bit silly, but they are really sweet animals who really like to relate with you. They like to snuggle, they love playing games. Now, before all my sort of rat phase, I did do like doing things like drawing. I was never really very good at it, but I enjoyed doing a lot of copying, drawing, just for myself, just for fun. I never really made it to actually be able to draw on my own properly. I still live in hope that I'll get some time to practice. A lot of my drawings from before, I mean, this is talking about in my teens, I really love doing wolf drawings, animal drawings, and I got this one which my husband bought for me years ago, which I absolutely love. Obviously you can see my logo has wolves, so there is something there too. The rats obviously did inspire a logo for me, but it did not stick for the fursuits. I have the rats logo for another brand I made, which I shall talk about later on. First of all, going back, as I said, back into my teens, I was more drawing things like this, like wolf drawings. I found this artist who did these beautiful wolf drawings, and I copied a lot of them. I love doing little sketches of like little creatures from books and cartoons. Got Milu, obviously. Little art pieces of eyes. I found just drawings that I really loved and tried to adapt them as I could. Obviously when I started to try and draw on my own, it wasn't so good, unfortunately, but I had fun, and this was something I did a lot when I was in high school and in uni even. I think I continued a bit. As I said, lots of wolf drawings. Here's another one in a black background version, which I really loved. I'm really sorry I cannot remember who the original artist was. This was so long ago and I apparently did not write it down, so I'm sorry, but thank you to that artist, because all their drawings were in that sort of style. Had all these tribal drawings as well that they did, which I absolutely adored. So I also came across this drawing which really fascinated me, this picture. I don't know, I've got the name Je Stratégie on top. I never even looked it up really. This picture fascinated me, this creature absolutely fascinated me, and I drew him. I did my own copy. I did my own copy like that at the time. I did other versions. I did trying to do a more stand-up version of him. I just really found that creature so interesting. I did another head. I've drawn this creature several times actually. I just love him so much. I don't know what he is. I'm actually working on some plans to make some trio of fursuits based on this sort of creature. I've created 3 different species with that same sort of head skull characteristic, so I'll be really excited to work on that some more this year, and maybe, hopefully, who knows, actually build them, which would really be awesome. Here are some more of those wolf drawings that I talked about. Same artist, I believe, who did them all. I love finding little drawings of little funny creatures like this as well. These were so cute. I thought these little gnomes with their little with their huge apple carrying it home. I also went through a phase of making all these cards. Now obviously I don't have the originals of these anymore, so I photocopied them of my originals, because I sent the originals to the person they were meant to be for. Any type of fun little creatures sometimes, like the bottom one with the little cat, adapting it. More of the wolf artist. This one I absolutely adore it with the crow. Really beautiful. Same here, a wedding anniversary one as well. And it was just something that I really wish I could continue doing. Here's another little Christmas one and some animal ones. Oh, this came from this book. I absolutely adore it. If I find the book, I'll find the book somewhere and I'll put it up here. That book is amazing for drawing animals. I just love it. Unfortunately, as I said, and this is another one from that book. I just wish I could get the time to actually spend some time learning how to draw. Some more here. Horse was a little bit disproportionate. The little wolves I thought were so sweet. I just had to do that one as well. These were all just like fun things I did, and I really do miss that little bear, polar bear for Christmas. And one of my little favourite ones was this little selection of little penguins, little scene I created of little penguins as a Christmas card. As I said, obviously these are all photocopies of the originals that I did send to the person. Oh, these ones as well. I think this was a bit later on. This was maybe in uni, I can't remember. I drew these ones, which I think was probably, can we say, one of the sort of the first few traces of my furry orientation. So that was, you know, I as I said, it's been here all the time. I've just loved these sort of images. Oh, a little quick Kakashi for those who know Naruto. Had really a hard time doing that because I've always had a lot of trouble with colour. I've been very afraid of working with colours because even from when I was a kid, I got really frustrated with colours because I couldn't get what I wanted. So I have avoided them, and I would like to come back to them at some point because it really was something that blocked me a lot. So I will come back to colours. Oh, a little one that I found. Oh, this was late. Oh, this was, yes, this was later on. This was in uni. I did this one of my parents' dog when she was a little pup. She was so sweet sitting in my lap. Just so gorgeous. There's one also in my, oh, this one unfortunately got damaged in my werewolf phase. Same thing, I love werewolves, obviously. I love all the humanoid animal side of the werewolf. So that was really obviously going to have to feature in my furry world as well. As I said, wolves always. And obviously it came down to not that long ago, a couple of years ago, that I finally did draw my own tattoo that I decided to have done. This was one of the base drawings I did. Obviously the final result you can see here. My little mouse, a little ratty on the arm. And so this is sort of has been like a background for me. It's been sitting in the background, all this drawing, which I really would love to try to develop more. Obviously, this is when afterwards in uni, I got the ratties, my first rats. I had 7 rats in total during that period of time. I originally started with Mitsu, Sam, Suko, Max, and then there was a little bit of a jump with Zach, then Kimmy and Tippy, and they were all sort of followed on. Obviously the first ones got old and died, which was really very hard for me, which in the end was why I stopped getting more, because it was just too hard. It's just, it breaks your heart to lose them. They're so such short living animals. It's really hard to take so regularly like that. And they're really an interesting animal to watch also to as a community, because they live together. I have 3 brothers who live together, and they are really such fascinating animals and just so adorable. So let me present to you my 3 boys. Here is Dobby. You'll notice there's going to be a little bit of a theme here. This is Dobby, who's my big chunky boy. And then we've got Mary, my little dark one. He's a little mama's boy, as my husband says. He loves cuddles and he loves to snuggle with me and bully his brothers, whilst making me think that he's an absolute angel. And then obviously here, one last boy here, we have Pippin. So do you see there's a slight 2001 theme here going with Mary and Pippin, and my little Dobby here, obviously the little odd one out here. These boys are already a year old now, actually, just about a year old. I'm sorry if you do not like their tails. A lot of people don't like the tails on rats, but it's really interesting because they end up being really useful to the rats. They need them for balance. They need them to help regulate their temperatures, and it's really important for them to have that tail to be able to move around properly. So these are my 3 boys who have inspired a lot of my work. Obviously the original ones, I've shown them to you in a photo. Obviously I don't have them anymore. And so there you go. You have met them all. Give them a little kiss. Give them a little kiss. Hey, say hello. Yeah. So I'm sorry if you don't like rats, but I must say they are really adorable pets, and I don't want to force you if you're really terrified of them. Don't worry about that. But just be aware that, I mean, a lot of people just don't know that rats can be pets, and that they can be amazing pets. So just look into it a little bit. Look up pet rats. People think they're dirty. My rats never go outside. I mean, I always worry about cats and dogs who go outside. They can walk in all sorts of rubbish, eat any sort of rubbish, and bring back all sorts of stuff from outside. Whereas these boys here, they're always inside. They never go outside. My other boys used to, but if they did, they were always on me, in my scarf, in their carrier bag, and they stay so much cleaner like that. They do not bring all the outside germs back in the house. I mean, we bring so many germs back on our shoes, I'm sure. So I mean, yeah, you have that image of rats living in the sewers. Now, of course, yes, those ones are probably full of diseases and stuff, unclean stuff. But I mean, these boys have been nowhere near any of that. So these are, oh, sorry, I got tied up in my hair. These are just purely pet animals. I shall take them off screen now for you if you are that worried about them. However, they obviously started something for me, because obviously it became a passion to me. As I said, I've got wolves that have always been a passion for me, so it's I can't say more or less than wolves, it's just different. And that's what in 2017 started my work on all these little mice. So I've talked about the mice that I've made before. These are the sort. So these are little felt mice. They stand up on their own like that. I've got other ones that can be used for Easter, for example. They've got their little basket with their eggs in it. They're doing their little egg hunt. I obviously have a majority of mice, but I do have some that are like little dogs, like this one here. It's a little dog holding a little flower. You can put a little note in his little peg here. I've also done other animals like foxes as well. Some have had my foxes. These are such cuties. They got quite a little big tail here at the back, so I had to balance them out nicely. These are all different themes. Obviously the main events are throughout the year. Easter was also a great one to do this lovely little hen. She's got her little basket of eggs as well. Oh, I've also got some sheep, which I really thought were adorable, the little sheep with the black faces. These guys went very quickly as well. I've only got 1 or 2 left, I think, of these. Main themes like Halloween and Christmas were huge for me. So I have a little Count Dracula here of little witches. Oh, these are rabbits as well. You see, as I said, I do other animals as well with their little tail. These little witches with their little witch hats. Witches with their little brooms here. Looking so cute and adorable. Oh, one of my favourites for Halloween were the little ghosts. I just love the little ghost with a little sort of like sheet piece over them. Obviously with the witch theme for Halloween, I could not resist doing a little selection of Harry Potter inspired ones who had the little scarf, the colours of the house. Obviously Christmas was a big one for me. I really enjoyed making the 3 kings, so you can choose, you can mix and match. I had the little kings like that with their little gifts. Just little simple winter themed ones as well. You can just get like a lovely little bobble hat one with his little scarf. For some, to make them a little bit more useful, I did add some little photo holder stands. Like, love doing the Father Christmas ones. These were so funny. When I made them, you have a little beard, the little outfit, obviously with the little hat on it, and then obviously his little bag of gifts on the side. Not sure, here's a little mouse one. parcel in hand, a little bag in hand. Same thing, the tail's still adjustable. Little bobble hat and beard. So is this one. I won't really be launching these again as a sort of like a business anymore. This is where I had my menagerie. This is all linked to my original business, which was the Menagerie of Felt Enchantments. Up here, here's the one with the logo of the mouse. I did not want to cut corners more than I already was on the time to make them. So it was a bit of a shame to have to sort of stop it as a business. I've got a lot available as well. For those who knew me at the time know that it was obviously a rather sad personal events that sort of brought the mice to an end, which meant that I was left with a lot in stock. I had a whole Halloween collection and Christmas collection made, ready to be sold. So obviously I must try to find some time to post those up. From these little mice, I also made 1 or 2 prototypes of these articulated ones, so wire articulated so I can move them. This was my first prototype, Ash. He is one of the mascots. I unfortunately lost the original mascot for my brand in London somewhere. Please, if anybody ever sees him again, my little sooty, please, I'll send a reward. I'll send a reward. Do find him for me. And Ash was his friend, who is articulated. He can move his legs, he can bend his legs, he can hold things. Even his little fingers can close and maybe hold something. Obviously not too heavy nor too delicate. So yes, Ash was really a prototype of what I really would have loved to have done. But same thing, the pricing, the making, finding the system. I wouldn't mind trying to work on some more prototypes, trying to improve it and maybe make a select few if anyone's interested, but that's not obviously the priority at the moment since I have the fursuits. This will be sort of on the back burner as a possible thing to start up again. Also with the I mentioned the Harry Potters, I also made this little fella for my husband, little Jedi, little Obi-Wan with his sword, and obviously a little foxy here. He's got his little hood, which he can remove. You can remove the little hood like that. The needle felting was really interesting. For those who don't know what needle felting is when you use carded wool. So basically, excuse me, you have this sort of like wool like this, that's sort of all fibery. You have these special needles which have little teeth on them on the side, and you just keep jabbing, and you jab, jab, jab until your carded wool just condenses so much that it becomes solid. So you make little, like this was my little mouse, obviously a mouse, little mouse like that out of it. You just keep jabbing until this actually becomes quite firm. You can actually needle felt till it becomes nearly hard. It's really pretty impressive. I made 2 articulated ones as well, actually 3, but I don't know where the other one is, sorry. Same thing, he's got posable arms. The legs don't really move so much, and obviously the tail can be moved around the way you want it to go, whichever way. It's quite a rigid wire that I've put in there, so it's getting closer to what I wanted to make. Obviously I've only done a couple of these, so I haven't really mastered it. This is little George as well. He's got articulated little legs as well. And it's a little tail. And this one I also needle felted a little outfit on him. He's actually already dressed with the coloured wool. For my husband I also made this little creature. For those who know Pokemon, this was really a lot of work, and it was really fascinating to make this, because obviously there was a lot of detail, there was a lot of different things to do, like the wings and getting obviously this inside part of the wing the right colour, and obviously you've got the little Charmander as well. So this was with the tail. I've got the tail as well. When he sits down, he's got the fire in front of him like this. Got this from some picture on the internet where you've got them both sitting like this with his own tail as the fire, which I thought was so adorable. I just had to do it. So this was, just to give you an idea, this was like 11-12 hours of work. Which I thought in the end wasn't bad, but when you start to have to price these things like that, it gets expensive. Let me know about your prices for those who do needle felting, but I was pretty shocked by the price I would have to charge if I wanted to sell something like this. I think that sort of covers most of it. Oh no, forgot to show you this. Something I did do this school, theatre costume school at one point, which I did attempt for a couple of months. Unfortunately, their system and their way of doing things did not suit me, but I really enjoyed the embroidery, which was something that I'd never done before, and I learned how to do embroidery like this sort of piece here, which was really fascinating. I did bead embroidery as well. I could not find the piece that I did, but I found this one even more fascinating because it's really sort of given me that possibility to maybe do more of this. When I want to do fursuits, I also want to do along with doing fursuits, I also wanted to do some like clothing to go with it in certain themes like pirate or steampunk sort of outfits to go with the fursuits, to nearly make like a partial clothes and fursuit combined. And things like this embroidery I thought would really be interesting in the long run. Obviously this takes forever to do, so it would have to be really small pieces otherwise, or if a client is willing to pay the amount needed to cover this sort of work, it would really be interesting. I thought the detail of doing all the little stitches and obviously adding the little beads was a really really beautiful technique, and I want to keep that technique in mind. Coming back to the drawings, obviously the rats played a huge part in all my art like this, and obviously I also did all my rat designs, which were for the Rats and Spree brand name that I created. These were all the pictures that I designed for the brand. I might come back to this as well. This is all on the back burner at the moment. I did want to try to keep everything going at the same time, but doing the fursuits, the mice, the rat designs, it was all too much. So I'm really focusing on the fursuits now. But I will be doing more rat designs and also more furry oriented designs. So we'll get back to that and see how that goes. So that's a quick overview of the stuff I like to do, that I enjoy learning about. Otherwise, I do like things like languages. Obviously, I've sort of nearly mastering 3. Obviously, with Italian, it's still not quite there, but I have started other languages as well, which really interest me. And I love music as well. I play the violin, just starting, I mean, not any level yet. I love fiddling around with my keyboard, my piano keyboard. I love music, singing, the guitar. I never really managed to get around to learning these instruments. I'm really trying with the violin to get into it because that is my favorite at the moment. So that's obviously, as I said, there's so much to do, so much stuff I want to do, and not enough time. So I slowly will try to plan these things into my schedule, and I hope that sometime I'll get the time to work on that. I just do not have enough time in a day to get all this stuff done. Just tell me about your leisures. What do you do? Is it still all in the creative world as well? Or do you do leisurely stuff that's completely different? Or are you not a professional creative and yet you do amazing creative stuff as a hobby, as your leisure? Let me know down in the comments, and I hope you have fun this year fulfilling these hobbies, having great time with these things, and just keep learning new stuff. See you then. Bye.